Welcome to my channel. If you love emotional and suspenseful real-life stories that teach unforgettable lessons, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from, because today's story is about betrayal, love, and the kind of payback that only a wise grandma can pull off. I never thought I'd see the day my own grandson would steal from me. His name is Ethan, 22 years old, full of dreams and ego, always chasing that flashy lifestyle he saw on social media. I raised him after his parents passed away in an accident. He was my world, my reason to wake up every morning. But lately, something had changed. The boy I once tucked into bed had turned into someone I barely recognized. Always online, always talking about grind culture, flexing, and making it big. One morning, I got a call from my bank. Mrs. Lewis, the woman on the other end, said politely, "Did you recently make a $4,000 purchase on your credit card for electronics?" My heart dropped. I hadn't used that card in months. I opened my laptop, logged into my bank account, and there it was. A long list of transactions. Headphones, designer shoes, gaming chair, expensive watch, all ordered online. And the delivery address? My own grandson's apartment. At first, I refused to believe it. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe someone had hacked him. But when I saw a video he posted on his Instagram story, showing off his new gear and tagging Grandma Dit, I knew he'd used my card. He thought I wouldn't notice. I sat there in silence for a while. The betrayal burned more than the loss of money. It wasn't just about the credit card. It was about trust, about the years I spent sacrificing for him, just to see him become someone who'd take advantage of me. I didn't call him right away. I didn't scream or cry. No, I decided to wait. Because sometimes silence is louder than anger. And when I finally made my move, it wasn't revenge I wanted. It was a lesson, one that he'd never forget. 3 days passed before I decided to call Ethan. When he finally picked up, his voice was casual, almost cheerful. "Hey, Grandma, how's my favorite lady doing?" I smiled softly, though he couldn't see it. "Oh, I'm fine, dear," I said. "I just wanted to check in. You've been quiet lately." He hesitated for a moment. "Yeah, been busy with work, you know. Trying to get my life together." I could almost hear the lies rolling off his tongue. "Work?" I asked gently. "Is that what you call spending my money online?" There was silence. A long, cold silence. Then came the denial. "What? Grandma, I don't know what you're talking about." I took a deep breath. "Ethan," I said, my tone calm but sharp, "I saw the receipts. The deliveries went to your address. And that video of yours? You tagged me. You really think I wouldn't notice?" He stuttered. "Grandma, I was going to pay you back, I swear. It was just, I needed to show people I was doing well. I didn't mean—" But I hung up, because sometimes the best answer is silence. That night, I sat by the fireplace and thought about everything. This wasn't about $4,000. This was about a young man who'd lost his way, blinded by pride and appearances. So, I came up with a plan, not out of anger, but out of love. I decided to teach him a lesson that would humble him forever. A week later, Ethan showed up at my house unannounced. He looked nervous, almost desperate. "Grandma, I'm sorry," he said. "I made a mistake. Please just forgive me." I smiled kindly. "Of course I forgive you. You're family. But actions have consequences, Ethan. You'll understand soon." He looked confused. "What do you mean?" I didn't answer. Instead, I asked about his new house. He'd been bragging for weeks online that he'd finally signed a lease on a new apartment. His dream home. He told me proudly, "Yeah, I move in next week. It's the start of my new life." I nodded. Inside, I knew something he didn't. You see, when he used my credit card, I quietly froze the account and reported the transactions as unauthorized. The bank refunded me immediately and flagged every store he'd purchased from. And that new house he just signed for? Well, the deposit had bounced. The lease was void. I'd made sure of it, but I didn't tell him that. Not yet. Because sometimes you have to let a person walk into their own storm to understand the meaning of shelter. It was a Friday morning when Ethan called me, his voice trembling. "Grandma, something's wrong," he said. "What happened, dear?" I asked softly, pretending not to know. "My new apartment, they said the payment bounced. The landlord said my deposit didn't go through, and now he's giving the place to someone else." I took a deep breath. "Oh, that's terrible," I said gently. "Maybe it's a sign you need to slow down. Think about what's really important." He sighed, frustrated. But I already told everyone online I was moving out. I even sold my old stuff. Grandma, I have nowhere to go. There was a long pause. Then, in the calmest voice I could manage, I said, Well, you can always stay here, if you're willing to work for it. He hesitated. The pride in his voice cracked a little. Work? What do you mean? I mean chores, helping around the house, cooking, cleaning, gardening, the things you've forgotten how to do while chasing likes and followers. He laughed nervously. You're joking, right? I didn't respond. That silence said everything. Later that evening, Ethan arrived at my doorstep with his duffel bag. His designer shoes were scuffed. The glow from his phone screen had been replaced with exhaustion. For the first time in years, he looked human. I welcomed him in with a smile. Dinner's in the kitchen. You can sleep in the guest room, but tomorrow morning we start early. The next day, when I handed him a mop and a list of chores, he stared at me like I was speaking another language. Grandma, I didn't think you were serious. Oh, I'm very serious, I replied. You wanted to live like a man? Then learn how to earn your place like one. At first, he dragged his feet, complaining with every sweep and scrub. But as days turned into weeks, something began to change. The arrogance faded. The endless selfies stopped. He started asking me questions, real questions. About life, about saving money, about the world beyond the internet. One night while we were eating dinner, he said quietly, Grandma, I think I get it now. Get what, dear? That I was trying to impress people who didn't even care about me. I thought money and looks made you respected, but it's honesty that does. I smiled, tears filling my eyes. You finally see it, Ethan. Respect isn't bought. It's earned day by day. He nodded, his voice breaking. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I reached across the table and placed my hand on his. Maybe not yet, I said softly. But you're on your way. Weeks passed. Ethan's life had slowed down to a rhythm he'd never known before. Simple, honest, and quiet. Every morning he woke up before sunrise, made breakfast, and helped me water the garden. He even learned how to fix small things around the house. At first it was just a punishment to him, but soon it became something else, a healing process. Sometimes I'd watch him from the porch, headphones out, phone aside, just lost in thought as he trimmed the bushes or painted the fence. It was like I was watching the little boy I'd raised reappear from behind the fog of pride and screens. One evening, after a long day of cleaning, he sat beside me and said, Grandma, do you ever get lonely living here? I smiled. Not really. I have my books, my garden, and memories that keep me company. He looked down. I never visited enough. I was always too busy pretending to have a life. I didn't say anything. I just handed him a cup of tea, because sometimes silence heals better than words. That night, I heard him on the phone. Yeah, I'm working now, he said to someone. Just odd jobs. Painting, gardening, deliveries. I'm saving up to pay Grandma back. He didn't know I was listening from the hallway. And for the first time since all this began, I smiled. Not because I wanted my money back, but because he finally understood what value means. Over the next few weeks, he grew more responsible. He started helping the neighbors, fixing their fences, mowing lawns. One old man even handed him $50 and said, You've got a good heart, kid. Don't waste it. Ethan's eyes glistened when he came home that day. Grandma, he said, I didn't realize how good it feels to earn something yourself. I nodded. It's not about the amount. It's about the effort. He took a deep breath and said, I'm sorry for everything. For stealing, lying, embarrassing you. You didn't deserve that. I reached out, touched his cheek gently and whispered, I forgive you, Ethan, but never forget how it felt to lose my trust, because that pain is what will keep you honest. He nodded, tears rolling down. I'll never forget, Grandma. I promise. A month later, he handed me an envelope. Inside was $500. It's a start, he said shyly. Just a small piece of what I owe. I held it for a moment, then pushed it back into his hand. Keep it, I said. Use it to build something better. And for the first time in a long time, he hugged me, not for comfort, but out of gratitude. That's when I knew. My grandson was coming home again, not just to my house, but to himself. A few months passed, and the air in the house felt lighter. Ethan had changed, not just in how he acted, but in who he was. He woke up early, smiled more, talked less about himself, and listened more when others spoke. It was like the storm had passed, leaving behind calm seas and a clearer sky. One morning I called him to the kitchen. "Ethan," I said, "sit down. There's something I need to show you." He looked curious, maybe even nervous. I handed him a small folder. Inside were the documents for a modest 2-bedroom house. Nothing fancy, but beautiful in its simplicity. His name was on the deed. He blinked. "Grandma, what is this?" I smiled softly. "It's your house. The one you thought you were moving into months ago." He stared at me, speechless. "You mean you bought this?" "Yes," I replied calmly. "I bought it with the same money you tried to spend on things that didn't matter. I wanted to show you that money can build something real, if you use it wisely." He looked down, tears filling his eyes. "I don't deserve this, not after what I did." "You're right," I said gently. "You didn't, but that's the beauty of forgiveness. You earn your place not by being perfect, but by learning from your mistakes." He stood up, walked around the kitchen, and wiped his face. "I don't know what to say," he whispered. I smiled. "Then don't say anything. Just promise me you'll take care of that house and never forget the lesson that built it." A week later, I helped him move in. No luxury furniture, no flashy gadgets, just a small home filled with light, plants, and peace. He worked 2 jobs, paid his bills, and even started volunteering at a local shelter. And every Sunday, without fail, he came to visit me, sometimes with groceries, sometimes just to talk. One evening, while we sat on the porch watching the sunset, he said, "You know, Grandma, I used to think you punished me that day. But now I realize you saved me." I smiled, my heart full. "No, Ethan, you saved yourself. I just gave you a chance to see who you really are." He nodded and we sat in silence, the kind that says everything words cannot. As I looked at him, I thought about how easy it is to let anger take over when someone betrays you. But revenge never heals, only lessons do. So if you're listening to this story right now, remember this. Respect can't be bought, love can't be faked, and forgiveness isn't weakness, it's strength. Sometimes the best way to teach someone is not by hurting them, but by showing them what real love looks like when they least deserve it. If you felt something in this story, if it reminded you of someone, or maybe of yourself, then please subscribe, share it with your friends, and tell me in the comments what lesson you took from it. Because every story has a heart, and this one beats with forgiveness.